Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. So, we've had some pretty incredible scoring outbursts this season. We saw Steph go for 50. We saw a number of different things, but what I saw last night with Kevin Durant is a culmination of him getting back to who he actually is. So, we're talking about a guy who in the 18-19 season, tore up his Achilles in the finals, and he was as sharp as he had ever been up until that point. And he had sat out the entire 1920 season. So the 2021 season was just an opportunity not to be elite, because I didn't think that he was going to come back as an elite player. I just thought that he was going to come back as a guy who showed that I could still hold up and I could still be sharp and I could still score. So he comes back, and not only can he still score, he's still scoring it at a high level. He's still scoring it at an elite level. He does look super sharp, but then he gets hurt. And the reason why he got hurt was because he got hurt again, which was his hamstring. And the reason why he got hurt again was because he hadn't played in a year and a half. So his body hadn't gotten acclimated to live action. It's one thing to work out all summer. It's one thing to get on a treadmill or run miles. But unless I can actually get into some live action, then it's completely different. This is why I've said in the past that the NBA not using the G League, which used to be the D League, not using the D League more, has been detrimental to them. And I would be happier if they did do that. So Kevin Durant has a full season, a full off season after playing last year. We saw what he did in the playoffs, and it was basically a, a half a foot, a half a shoe size away from advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. And he wasn't really that sharp. He was great in the playoffs and during the season, but injuries hampered him. So he's got a whole season to not just rehab, he's got a whole season to get himself sharp again, whole off season to get himself sharp again. So he does that, and I equated it to what's going on with Klay Thompson right now, where I got Klay coming back as a guy who is just going to show that he could hold up and that he could still be efficient and that he could still play. And then next season, we're going to see the super sharp Klay, because he's got that season under his belt where he's gotten knocked around and he's gotten pushed around a little bit, and he's getting that feel back. Well, same thing happened with Kevin Durant, where last season he got hands put on him, and he knows what it's like to be back in the game. Now this season, I'm back to being sharp again, and how efficient he is. And the reason why I think he's that efficient is because Kevin Durant is one of those guys who knows exactly who he is. He knows where he's good at, he knows where he's great at. He knows how to get to where he needs to get to, and he knows exactly what to do when he gets there. So, for example, when we're talking about a guy who's coming down in transition, well, if I got a big guy on me coming down in transition, a guy who isn't as athletic as me, I'm not going to stop and pop. And the reason why I'm not going to stop and pop is because he can't keep up with me athletically. Most of the big guys can't. So I'm just going to blow your doors off. That's how he gets to the basket as efficiently as he does. If I got a smaller guy on me, a 6'6", 6'7" guy, that guy is going to be in retreat mode, which in Kevin Durant's mind, I'm stopping at the 17-foot mark. I'm stopping at the 15-foot mark. And his ability to handle the basketball, right? His ability to just shoot over the top of a guy, because at 6'7", I stop at the 17-foot line. You can't get to that. You just can't do it. So when I think about what I saw last night with him going 51, 9, and 7, I should be surprised and I should have my eyes wide open, but he was actually due for a game like that, considering how well he was playing. We're talking about a guy who's leading the league in scoring. He's shooting over 60. Combined, he's shooting almost over 60% in the mid range. So he was due for a big 50-point game. Absolutely. And I wasn't surprised by what I saw. What I was surprised by last night was I was surprised by how they held Brooklyn to only 13 points in the fourth quarter. I thought that was pretty. They held Detroit. I'm sorry, not Brooklyn. They held Detroit to only 13 points in the fourth quarter. And I've been very critical of Brooklyn. I think that they're fool's gold. I think that they're thin in the middle. And I've explained this countless times that I'm not sure that Kevin Durant is enough to get them over the top. And I do think that they need to shore up that middle. However, what I can't deny is I can't deny who Kevin Durant is, and I will never deny that. We're talking about a guy who's leading the league in scoring for the fifth time in his career, and barring any health issues, there's no reason for me to think that he can't stay this sharp, right? He can't stay this sharp for a guy who his ability to get into the teeth of the defense, his mid-range is the most impressive thing to me. Him being able to finish, I can appreciate that because again, when I got big guys on me, I could just take them to the basket. And at 6'10", I should be able to do that. But his ability in the mid-range to just create space, I think that's incredible. And how he just raises up over guys. That makes him impossible. Him shooting the long ball, that's just an added bonus to his game. I think his mid-range game is what separates him from the majority of the scorers in today's game. Not just today's game, but all time. That's what separates him. So I'm not surprised by what he did last night. And I don't expect 50 more often, but I expect Kevin Durant to continue to play the way he's playing and be an MVP candidate at the end of the season. I absolutely expect him to do that. And since we're on the subject of MVP candidates, I think that Steph Curry breaks the 3-point record. I think he does it. I don't know if he does it tonight, but I think that it'll be done before this week is out. I think Tuesday. I think if he doesn't do it tonight, he does it tomorrow night in New York on Tuesday against the Knicks. I think that if he doesn't do it tonight, I think he does it tomorrow night. We're talking about a guy who his ability to shoot the long ball has just been unmatched, which, I stand on the fact that I just don't see this record being broken in my lifetime, even though it only took him 11 years to do it. But I haven't seen a guy in the game. Even though we got guys who shoot the basketball, I haven't seen a guy in the game who shoots the basketball like him. I just haven't seen it. And I don't the next great long ball shooter, I don't think we met him yet. I don't. I don't think we've met him yet, and I don't think we're going to meet him for a while. I don't think we're going to see him for a long, long time. Steph Curry is phenomenal as a long ball shooter, his ability to create space. And I've said this in the past about his ability to get his shot off. He's got a hair trigger where he gets it off immediately, and his ability to continue to move around and create space and keep the defense on the defense and off balance, that's what helps him out even more. So I expect him to do this no later than tomorrow night. I expect this thing to be done, and I think he's already established as the greatest long ball shooter in the history of the game. I think he's already established at that. I just think that between today and tomorrow, it gets stamped. What I don't want is I don't want him to press. And it seemed like that's what was going on Saturday night. Thibault didn't seem to be interested in getting 10 threes put on him at all. So he made it clear that I'm going to make this very difficult on Steph Curry. Very difficult. And I think they did a good job on him. So I expect this thing to be broken, if not tonight, by tomorrow the latest. And it's just going to be a great thing. Now, since we're on the subject of great, we talk about a guy in LeBron James who, since he's been back in the lineup over the last 10 games, and I didn't have him as a top 5 player, but he's moving himself right back into the top 5 for me. Since over the last 10 games, he's 27, almost 7, and 7, which is his career average. A guy that'll be 37 in 2 weeks, right? He'll be 37 in 2 weeks. And he does look like he's slowed down, not tremendously, but he looks a lot smarter. And he picks spots where he can score more efficiently. He's shooting the long ball more. I think he's doing that to preserve himself. And I think that him being on the floor, I think that masks a lot of issues that the Lakers have. And I'm hoping that these issues can get shored up before the playoffs. Because what happens in the playoffs is that whatever deficiencies you have, they get exposed. And James is great at hiding your deficiencies. So I think that he's right back to being a top 5 player. But the Lakers do have to get it together. They got some problems that need to be addressed. The rotation issue. They're a good rebounding team. They're a really good rebounding team. They're not a good defensive team. But James' ability to score, he masks that. So that's something that they definitely need to get together. And I think that they're going to do that. I absolutely think that they're going to do that. So again, it's good to see you guys, and I'll be back on here really soon. So until then, take it light, but take it.